What's up, guys? Damian Keys here. So this week, the country pop duo Dan and Shay teamed up with the mighty Justin Bieber to release a song. Now, Dan and Shay have been on the rise for the last couple of years, and I have to say I am a big fan of Dan and Shay. Saw them live earlier this year, and I know that it was only 2 years ago that when they came to the UK, they actually got a train around the UK in order to do their tour. They toured the UK by train because there was no money. They've been on a meteoric rise, and this week they released a track with Justin Bieber. But it got me thinking about selling out. If you're going to sell out, how to sell out. Because let's face it, I mean, if you're going to sell out, that's about as big as it's going to get. You've literally come from this country pop background. You're being now launched into the mainstream. All of a sudden, you are going to have to answer to your loyal fan base who might not like Justin Bieber. You're going to have that country Nashville vibe taken away from you because, again, you are now mainstream. You are now like, Taylor Swift. All of the country music festivals are probably not going to be coming and knocking on the door. C to C and a lot of those sort of big festivals are probably going to turn their back on you a little bit as the fan base. And it got me thinking about it. And, not just should you sell out, I think that's the wrong question, but I think it's more a case of be careful what you wish for. And I've got a bit of a story about it. But also before that, I was watching the Black Keys on Joe Rogan's podcast. And they were saying some really interesting things.
That's why it's dangerous to have your song in certain things. If your song comes on in Walgreens, you better watch out, man. That's a red flag. Because we've had opportunities to have our songs sent to top 40 radio, and there was this thing where if we won record of the year for Lonely Boy, Warner Brothers was going to service that song to top 40. It would have never probably been a hit, but if we would have won that Grammy, it could have fucked our whole band up. I've seen it happen with lots of bands. You become play school level.
Yeah, but do you really think that you guys would change? I think you probably would reject it.
We wouldn't change, but the thing is you start accessing, you start acquiring a fan base that's more fickle and maybe more annoying. You know what I mean?
They deliberately, because they're scared about selling out, they deliberately restrict their tracks from going certain places. Like certain TV shows, like certain chart radio shows. They're deliberately not taking up opportunities that they know will progress the band because they're scared of the backlash, because they know what they've got their fans, they know what they've got with their fans. And this idea of actually losing their fan base in order to gain a bigger plastic fan base is scary for them. And you can see why. If people like me who've been big Dan and Shay fans for a couple of years go because of the Justin Bieber link, and this is nothing to do with Justin Bieber, by the way. I'm not a believer, but at the same point, I think Justin Bieber's the most perfect pop star. I think he's an amazing singer. He looks great. It's a fashion-based industry. Young girls will love him. That's why he's worth $200 million. Whether you like him, whether you don't, he does his niche very, very well. You might not like very heavy thrash metal, but there are certain bands that do it particularly well, whether you like it or not. And I think this idea of not turning your back, but taking up an opportunity, it's very difficult to say no when Justin Bieber comes knocking in order to massively up your fan base, your opportunities. Very difficult to say no.
Oh, go on then.
But again, in doing so, what does the future hold for Dan and Shay with their fan base? Are their fan base going to embrace the fact they've done this with a pop star like Justin Bieber? Or does that sell out their credibility and make them into plastic pop stars, no matter how talented they are? I think it's a difficult one. But I remember, looking back at my time at BIM, especially when we started BIM, we had one goal at BIM. When I started BIM, the goal was we wanted to be the best music school in the world. That was it. I didn't care about anything else. There was no biggest, there was no money. I didn't care about any of that stuff. It was just being the best. I went to work every single day thinking I'm going to destroy the competition because we have to be the best. Then as the years start to go past and these opportunities start to crop up, and you start to believe your own hype, and you start to think, well, I can't turn down this opportunity, and it's all about getting bigger and more exciting opportunities and the adventure and the growth. And there was definitely, looking back, a time where I felt like I sold out a lot of my morals in order to, as harsh as this is for what I'm saying and listening to myself, sell out for money. Literally just going, can't say no to that amount of money, can't say no to that opportunity, and it grew and grew and grew into something I was not just not proud of, but just disgusted by. And you start looking to the future and thinking, all of the people who were there at the beginning, all of the people have turned their backs on us and what we were trying to achieve, because they recognized that what we sold it as at the beginning compared to what it then went on to become was two different things. And it's its own thing now. I'm not involved in it. It's its own thing. But I look back and make no bones about it. We sold out. This was where we hit the big time when it came to being a pop star. We took a business which was first year 150 students, 350, 450, 6,500 now. All of a sudden, it's a very different thing. It was like I felt like we had turned from that looking after the fan base and building something special with a lot of morals to let's concentrate on just ramping it up, selling out, bringing in as much money as we can. And then what it meant was, after a certain period of time, was I was deeply unhappy with going to work, if that made sense. I was deeply unhappy with the fact that I knew I wasn't happy with what we were making. And so my life every single day was shitter than it was a few years earlier. I look back at my time and think that first 3 or 4 years was something special. Then it started to get more about numbers and figures and money and greed. And I felt at that point for me, I was like, not as happy, if that makes sense. So I think it's a really interesting question with selling out your band. I mean, if you're going to selling out with Justin Bieber, I just don't think there is a bigger sellout than that. I mean, Ed Sheeran maybe, Adele maybe, but I think they're more credible for an artist to do a duet with Ed Sheeran because of his songwriting ability and Adele's credible artist ability, as opposed to Justin Bieber, who is an out-and-out pop star. I think if you're going to sell out, then you've just gone top level. You've just been signed by the biggest football franchise in the entire world. And now, in doing so, you have to be able to compete. You can't sit on the bench. You have to come out and play, and you have to prove to the fans. Because how bad is it when all of these new Dan and Shay fans, the millions of Dan and Shay fans who are now there because of Justin Bieber, who are going to be at their gigs, going, play 10,000 hours. And all of the fans are going to be like, do you know any other Dan and Shay songs? And they're going to go, not really. No, maybe that Tequila one. But they're not going to know the history. They're not going to have been there since the beginning. They're not going to understand the journey. They're just going to have gone, no, but Bieber, he says they're really good, so we're jumping on it. Not saying there's anything wrong with it, but Dan and Shay now have to live with that decision for the rest of their times as pop stars. And I'm sure lucratively it will be amazing. Will it be as fun? And will it be as rewarding? Don't know. Might be. I'm sure it'll be more lucrative for the next couple of years. They're definitely now going to be pop stars. They're definitely going to go up there with the likes of the Taylor Swifts, who took their jump out of Nashville, out of country, into out and out pop. But I think it comes at a price. I think having that kind of that plastic pop culture fan base who aren't truly understanding of you and who you are and what you stand for and what you've come from, I think that comes at a price. I think it can take its toll, and I think you got to be really careful when you sell out. And if you are going to sell out, I think do what Dan and Shay have done and do it for the right price, because from experience, I think it weighs heavy. Anyway, deep talking about selling out. I want to know your thoughts. What do you think? Did they sell out for the right reasons? Did they do it for the wrong reasons? I know you're going to get a lot of Justin Bieber hate. I get that. But I want to know your thoughts. Do you think it was a good idea financially, or should they not have been thinking that because they were already on their meteoric rise anyway, doing their own thing? So I want to know your thoughts in the comment below. But if you can really do me a massive favor and hit that like button, because the algorithm, it really does make a difference. Subscribe, and more importantly, just come and be a part of this community, because I'm so proud of what we're building. But almost on 50k. Thanks for everyone for getting us this far, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Nothing could be colder than 3 a.m. walking down this